In 2011, I was taking a class on preaching in a seminary. At one point in my life, I thought I wanted to be a preacher, but podcasting changed this for me. In learning about the different approaches to sermon prep, I decided that I would ask one of my favorite preachers at the time about his process. Their delivery was so smooth and engaging and conversational that I assumed that he probably just winged it, or maybe at the very least had a rough outline. To my surprise, I found out that every word that he delivered in his sermons was written down word for word in a manuscript. This blew my mind. However, he said it wasn't always this way. He started out outlining his sermons and then over time moved to scripting out his sermons word for word. And he said it took a lot of time and practice for him to get comfortable delivering his sermon from a script. The main thing I took away from this is that you have to practice, experiment, and find what works best for you. Scripting's not for everyone. And the truth is, there's a pendulum of the person that scripts every episode versus the person that completely wings it. The script or outline for your podcast can provide a roadmap for the content of your episodes. It outlines the specific elements, questions, or sections that will be included in that episode. The script can provide a framework for the host or hosts to follow while they're recording the episode and keep them on track. We can all be susceptible to getting off topic or going down rabbit trails. So a script can help you to stay on topic so that you can deliver episodes that are well organized and engaging for your listeners. To help you start thinking about which approach might work best for you, let's discuss how the different recording styles can impact your scripting style. Monologue or narrative style podcast. Monologue or narrative style recordings typically lend themselves to a more scripted approach. With that being said, some people do prefer to use an outline or even go off the cuff. But for example, many true crime shows, the host's monologue or narration will be scripted, while the field recordings or interviews are not. Interview style podcast. Interview style podcasts typically lend themselves to more of a hybrid approach, with some sort of outline or bullet point list. This method allows you to not get off topic, but also allows you the freedom to spend more time on a particular topic and have a sense of spontaneity. Some hosts can even somewhat memorize their outline and only reference it when needed. I really like this method, especially for interview style podcasts. It ensures that I ask all the questions I want to cover, but also gives me the freedom to engage and ask other questions as they come up. Conversational style podcasts. Conversational style podcasts typically lend themselves more to a wing it approach. This allows for almost complete freedom and spontaneity. You can cover the topics that come to mind and go as deep or as shallow as you want. However, I find it helpful to at least have a few talking points or topics written down to avoid getting off topic or going too deep down a rabbit trail. So if you do take this approach, be mindful of this and redirect the conversation back on track as needed. Here are a few things to consider regardless of the approach you decide to take. Scripting or outlining episodes will typically allow you to stay on topic, which usually results in content that's more concise and to the point. When reading from a script, especially whenever first starting out, it can feel stiff or inauthentic and obvious that you're reading from a script. I recommend that you practice and make yourself very familiar with your script or outline. Read it, record, listen back, re-record, and repeat if needed. Post-production and being able to edit after can also be a big help with this. If you don't like how you said something or how it came across, simply pause and re-record that section. Knowing your script or outline well will allow your personality to shine and come through. And the more experience you get under your belt, the more natural this process typically becomes. Here are a few tips for scripting or outlining your podcast. Less is more. You want to be concise and to the point while still being informative. When scripting, it's a good practice to revise and trim the non-essential as much as you can. Ask yourself, can I say this with fewer words while still getting across the same point? You want to avoid being too wordy. Saying more with less will result in your content being concise and to the point, and still providing immense value to your audience. Scripting is both a skill and an art, and revising is often just a part of this process. Number 2, the script serves you. Don't ever feel bound to or weighed down by your script or outline. Experiment with and find what works best for you. Your script or outline should serve you and your process, and make your recording and production process smoother overall. If you ever feel like you're serving the script rather than it serving you, that's where the next tip comes in. Number 3, change it up. Even after you've developed a good process, you may need to tweak or adjust your script for each episode, and that's okay. Customization is vital to creating a podcast that reflects your unique personality and connects with your audience. Resist the urge to put it on autopilot. Try to make time to plan, outline, or script each episode. No conversation goes well without a plan. Number 4, prepare. Always take time to prepare for each episode, even if it's simply jotting down 3 topic ideas or questions for your guest. Contrary to popular belief and memes you may see, simply hitting the record button and talking without a script usually doesn't result in very engaging podcasts. Maybe a few people can pull this off, but it's not the norm for most people. When creating podcasts, preparation is key. Number 5, determine what drives the episode. Understand that listeners are typically drawn in by the host personality or by the topic that you're discussing. It's important to decide which element will take precedence. For instance, if a topic might be considered boring, let your opinions or energetic personality drive that episode. If you have a high energy or fascinating guest, allow them to be the superstar of that particular episode. Number 6, get feedback. Have someone else review your script or outline and get feedback. Being open and receptive to others' feedback can be immensely helpful, and that applies to life in general. When you get thoughtful feedback from someone you know and trust, it can allow you to improve and refine your script or outline and skills. Now, some are better than others, especially whenever it comes to the delivery of that feedback. So be mindful of this whenever you're thinking about who you're going to ask. And whatever you do, don't take it personal or get defensive if you don't like the feedback you receive. Remember, it's just one person's opinion. Move on and find someone else to ask. Number 7, ship it. Remember the 80-20 rule and the point of diminishing returns. Get your script or outline to 80% and move on. Release episodes, get feedback, and improve over time. I like to say that 80% out the door is better than 100% in the drawer. In any creative endeavor, there's always a temptation to spend more time on that last 20% than you spent on the first 80%. And often, what ends up happening is you never release or get it out. Another way I've heard this said is that 80% done is always better than perfect. Resist the temptation to try to make it just a little bit better and get it out. Lastly, and this is more of a delivery tip, is to be aware of your tone. Sometimes reading your script out loud or even recording and listening back can be really helpful. Experiment with different tones and be mindful that different sections may need to be delivered in a different tone depending on the content and your audience. At the end of the day, remember to experiment and find the approach that works best for you. Your script or outline should be a tool that serves you and provides a roadmap for the content of your episode. Practice, get feedback, and get it out. Keep moving. Repetition is key, and over time you're going to improve and get better. But that will never happen if you get stuck trying to perfect the last 20%. So get it out. Let's go.